Greetings, family. Peace and love to you and yours. This is Guru. Thanks for visiting my channel. Family, this video is about the Blacks for Trump 2020. Is Trump's latest con. What does Trump really know about his vocal and suddenly media-friendly coterie of black boosters? Well, let's find out. Well, they had the best, closest, and most visible spot in the crowd behind Trump at his much-touted recent pep rally in Melbourne, Florida, they being the handful of blacks that enthusiastically waved the, quote, Blacks for Trump signs behind him. So let me just stop here for a minute because I just want to say that the media, they love to point this out. The white supremacists, they love to point this out. The few blacks who do support Trump, well, of course, they love to point this out because it's a part of exploiting a situation. The Blacks for Trump sign is pretty much a joke, is pretty much ridiculous considering that you only have a sprinkle, just a sprinkle, a few tokens, aka coons, who are in his audience holding up these signs. So it's not like the signs represent a whole bunch of or a group of people. It's only the groups who are there. And like I said, it's probably just a handful, probably a dozen or so that's sprinkled in this audience. So I think that that sign should say something else that represents the blacks who are, as Trump calls them, the blacks. Okay, I think the sign should represent the blacks who happen to be in his audience. And then that sign would represent more of the truth. But anyways, I digress. Getting back to the article. The black Trump boosters didn't stop there. They promoted and ballyhooed their website, primping Trump's presumed re-election campaign in 2020, complete with a re-election website, gods2.com. Now, in case one thinks this is a recent Trump stunt or stunt by some black oddballs to get their 15 minutes of fame in the bask of Trump's presidential glow, it's a little more involved. This bunch popped up at a Trump rally in Florida back in October, a couple of weeks before his win. Their very conspicuous appearance on the political scene was prompted more than a few conspiratorial musings about whether and how much they're being paid by Trump operatives. What does Trump know about them? This is coupled with some murky, even unsavory facts about the one identifiable cheerleader of the Trump cause in the group, Michael the Black Man. He's got a shadowy past that once garnered a lot of media attention when a few years back he emerged as head of a fringe black nationalist religious cult in South Florida. He and more than a dozen other members of the group was charged with conspiracy to commit murder, not convicted. Since then, he and other group members have been hauled into court several times on various charges, but nothing has stuck. He's parlayed this notoriety into one of the biggest scams or beliefs, depending on how one wants to look at blacks for Trump on the political stage. This still doesn't answer the dangling question. Just what does Trump really know about his vocal and suddenly media-grabbing coterie of black boosters? Trump certainly didn't have any problem snatching one of their placards at a rally last October and waving it around. Whether he knows or cares about the shady history of the principal organizer is unknown. However, the group isn't slithering under the public radar. Its website is choked full of racial rants, homespun, bizarre conspiracy concoctions about war, religion, and the secret global cabal that supposedly runs the planet. This stuff should be more than even a Trump could stomach, but that's probably less important than the fact that they are out front, visible, and eminently promotable as being proof that he's got some blacks beyond the handful of ex-jocks and entertainers he's met with who are willing to wave signs backing him. Well, while we're on this subject, I want to just interject and say that I haven't heard anybody mention this, but I'm going to mention it now, is that, sure, there were like 8% of blacks who voted for Trump. Sure, most of them probably were black males, according to the stats. But I just like to say that if you ask any of them, I'm sure they would tell you that they voted for him because of the tax breaks they believe are going to benefit them in the long run because of their tax brackets. Other than that, I highly doubt they would have voted for Trump. So, with that said, when you guys are always talking about how much blacks voted for Trump and blah, 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 this and that, I believe that the blacks who voted for Trump only did so because they too want to benefit from the tax codes coming from the Trump administration. After all, Trump has a lot of money himself, so of course he's going to protect those just like him. So, that's just my position on it. But anyways, getting back to the story, this also kind of sort of boosts the case that he makes that he's got much more black support and votes than anybody ever believed he could possibly get. He actually did edge close to getting into double figures with black votes. His talk about blacks being used and spit out when they're no longer needed for Democratic votes, about undeserved black neighborhoods that are supposedly a mess with lousy public schools, about high crime and violence and chronic joblessness and poverty, got some traction. Yes, he did. And hopefully, Donald Trump puts his money where his mouth is, and that he does create jobs for the joblessness, and that he does turn around our neighborhoods and show that America certainly is great for Americans. I've yet to see it. I can't wait to see it, though, and I'm holding all you mofos who voted for him in office. I'm holding all you mofos accountable for that. I want to see it happen. You judge President Obama accordingly. That's exactly how we're going to judge Donald Trump, accordingly to his doings. Not his words, but his actions. So anyways, it says, his nonstop trash talk about Hillary Clinton played to the latent and not so latent loathing by some blacks toward the Clintons for allegedly being the architects of mass incarceration and the welfare gut. Well, I wouldn't say allegedly. I'd say that they had a lot to do with it. So I'm not so much fans of Bill or Hillary Clinton. But that's my personal opinion. So Trump also can trot out a bunch of black apologists and spokespersons to loot his line that he genuinely wants to be an inclusive president and harbors no racial animus towards blacks. This ploy finds a soft spot with more than a few blacks, but most notably black conservative evangelicals who are always deeply susceptible oh boy, to GOP conservative pitches on some issues such as abortion. Susceptible. There you go. Now there is no evidence as of yet that any money has changed hands between anyone or any group connected with Trump to get black placard waivers into the stands in well-positioned posts behind Trump at public appearances. So in other words, they're saying there's no real proof of any receipts that prove that the Trump administration or the Trump supporters paid these black people to hold up these signs that coincidentally happen to be right behind Trump. No, they're saying no, we're not paying anyone, and it's just a coincidence that they're able to sit in the front. Hey, I'm just keeping it real, that's all. But anyways, back to the story. The only thing that really counts for the moment is that by being there, they add an odd, curious element to the usually overwhelming crowd of fervor shouting white Trump acolytes we see. This is exactly the kind of element that would appeal to a Trump who revels in doing everything humanly and politically possible to ensure that his presidency is the most bizarre, contentious, and controversial in the annals of American politics. Blacks for Trump 2020 fits neatly into that mold. So in other words, yes, Donald Trump would be able to use his influence, namely his money, to orchestrate things of this nature just to make himself that much more relevant. You know what, family, for me, I gotta tell you, I was not really wanting to do many stories on Trump because there's just, as the motivation is just not there. But there's been some interesting things that have come about that I've had no other choice but to drop a video or 2 or 3 on it. There's a few that are funny to me, that are comical. Those are the ones that I've kind of focused on in the past. But this one, the whole Blacks for Trump, I wasn't sold on it when I read the article, but I wanted to share it with you just to say that, once again, the media and those that think they can run a little game on us think that they can influence us or get us to believe that, yes, there's a group of blacks for Trump that now support him in great numbers. And look, they're right in this audience there. Yeah, but when you look, it's just a handful or 2. That's it. And I just think that when they try to exploit us in that fashion, it is a disservice. You know what? If you really want to be sincere with black people, do something sincere, and then we will support you, and it will be genuine, and you won't have to do this fake news crap. You know, this propaganda. So with that said, I just came up on my favorite number. I'm going to end this video off now. Thanks for watching, family. Peace and love to you and yours. Until the next video, don't forget to love yourself. I'm out.